They are not correct, but it is the practice.
No, yeah. I'm actually saying this because you talked about pre-bedalism, and that you don't expect a man who is from Owa Alero to come and develop your village, which I feel I don't quite agree with, because, you give to your people what is due to them. Because if we have a governor who gives to the Yoruba people what is due to the Yorubas, who gives to the Shekirin what is due to the Shekiris, who gives to the Anyomas what is due to them, and I think there would be less of agitation as to where the person comes from who becomes a governor. Don't you think so?
Well, a governor ought to be for all.
Okay, that's the point.
A president ought to be for all. But you and I, we have been in this country. Study the political history of this country. When Jonathan was president, you and I expected much. I could tell you that Jonathan as president could not provide borehole water for his people. It is the current government that did that. Because he didn't quite understand what pre-bedalism is about. While Ibori was governor of Delta State, Ogara was more developed than every other kingdom in Uroboland. That is pre-bedalism.
Yeah, I'm not, barrister. I'm not actually trying to say, there's nothing, like pre-bedalism in your own words, okay? But what I'm just trying to say, we're looking at the ideal situation, all right? Because we are role models in society, and we are people, we are realists, okay? And again, we believe that things should be done in the right perspective. Because when you say democracy, are these whole pre-bedalism and all these concepts you're talking about, are they part of democracy? Don't you think it's high time we start clamoring for a change of operational procedure and mindset? Or do you think this change is not possible?
Good. This change is possible, but it is difficult. It is possible for people of like minds, like we saw during the NSAS protest, to say no, enough is enough. It is difficult for you to assemble people of like minds to have a voice and say, this is how it ought to be. I do not like rotational politics. Wow. I do not like it. I do not enjoy it. I kick against it. But I've come to realize that it is the practice among our people. In my local village where I come from, Ofirogo, or put it Ogo in general, they tell you that when a councillor comes from this quarter, after 3 years, he should come from another quarter. Up to PG level, who governs the village, they tell you that when the PG comes from this quarter, the next should come from this quarter. I do not believe in this. It does not favor the best brain. One of the things that rotational politics does to a nation or a state is that it beats the dullest as the smartest.
I get your point, Assin Godstime. Perhaps we'll go a bit. Let me bring you to 2023 once more. We know the politics is becoming hot and hot by the day, and I'm concerned about the youth today. Now, we were singing in Not Too Young to Lead mantra recently, that's after shortly before and after the NSAS period. Every youth was posting, in his or her pages on social media. Not too young to lead, but all of a sudden we no longer hear of that. And a whole lot of those who are coming out, the majority of them are, the same old people, politicians, and the few younger generation that have somewhat confidence and courage to come out, the youth are even now further, killing them, like you said. So what do you think the youth should do at this point in time?
Unity.
Okay, you've said that before.
I want us to have a voice. And for us to have this voice, we must come together and say, this is what we want. If you study it properly, there is a movement. The fact that we say we have two major political parties, there is a movement. That movement is an agitation. The agitation is bettered on the fact that this country has been mismanaged by a group of people who call themselves Kaba, who could defect overnight.
Yes.
You see them today in this party, tomorrow you see them in another party. I want to tell you this. If there is change of government in this country, In another 6 months, everybody would have been in one party. That is the problem I have with governance.
Okay, that's
So,
defection.
defection. But for this to work, for us to enjoy dividends of democracy, is that when a government operates for 4 years, it is not a must that a government must operate for 8 years. And that government is not okay. If we have one voice as youth, we vote these persons out.
Okay.
Today we are suffering in this country. We cannot feed. We could barely eat 3 times a day. Our children have been home doing nothing. They have been deprived by a group of people who call themselves politicians. 2 or 3 of these persons just have their children graduate from foreign universities. Don't you think? Isn't it time we agreed for these persons to be retired? Young man, if you are watching this video, go and get your PVC.
Yeah,
Get it.
yeah, yes, Barrister, I think that's interesting. You know, you made mention of maybe an agitation, a growing agitation.
Yes.
If I may, I don't know. Are you by any chance referring to the Peter Obi?
It is a movement. You should know it is a movement.
So they call it obedient people.
Yes.
So are you obedient?
This has nothing to do with our conduct. Obedient is more or less like an acronym. For those of you who teach English, they brought it and it's very interesting. You know, everybody just pronounce it easily. That is the movement. That is the agitation.
So it's not really about the political party, so to speak.
No,
So
we are
it's
not
about
concerned.
the individual.
As
the
far
personality.
as I am concerned, that movement has Assin Godstime.
Okay.
That movement has my wife. That movement has my members of my family. I've been talking to them. I am still talking to them. That is the movement. If we fail in it, it is better, provided we are not part of those to underdevelop us.
Wow, that's interesting. Finally, Barrister Assin Godstime, you know, today you are seen to be supporting, you know, candidates from across political parties. You know, do you really belong to any political party?
Well, for now, Assin is coming out openly to say that I do not belong to any political party as far as this forthcoming election is concerned.
So you mean you are not a card-carrying member of any political party?
Well, some can tag me as an APC member. These persons may not have been wrong. But as far as I am concerned, I haven't been in this country throughout this dispensation. Assin is openly saying that I fought the system, the rulership, as far as this present or this incumbent government is concerned. I want to say that I no longer belong to any political party.
Wow. Okay, yes, just a quick one. I know a lot of people will be waiting to hear from me on this because I've heard some young people talk about it. That's your drumming support for, what's his name? The PDP candidate from Delta Central, senatorial candidate. That's Amori. Doesn't that actually contravenes the not too young to lead mantra you are talking about?
Good.
Because Amori has been in political, in the polity for a very long time now. And don't you think it contravenes your strong support on social media, or it contravenes the not too young to lead mantra?
Well, the two persons who are running are not youth. First, look at it from that angle.
Wow.
The two persons, the two major, they are not youth, my brother. Do not deceive yourself. There is none below 55. They are referred to as Ikpako in Urobo. They are old people. But let me tell you why I am supporting Igoyota Amori.
Okay, just before you say that, does that underscore other political parties, new political parties? Because you've been talking as though they are just two political parties.
Well, we have many now. Then we know where the dance is going.
Oh, so you follow where the dance is going?
No, we are not following. We know where the dance is going.
Really?
As you and I were here, based on our calculation, we know the next governor of Delta. We are only assuming. We are only speculating.
No. I don't know. Assin Godstime. No, I
You
don't
know.
No. I don't know. I don't know. There are a lot of people contesting as far as I'm concerned. And anyone can become the governor of Delta State. It's only God who should know. Are you getting it? Yeah, but you were trying to say something while you are supporting Igoyota Amori.
I have looked at the other candidates critically. He has wealth of experience as a chartered accountant. No two ways about it. The father was renowned. The father was the first Urobo senator elected
Are you
twice.
talking about Iwota Amori or you are talking about
Ede
Ede
Dafinone.
Dafinone? Okay,
Asin is not saying he's a bad man.
okay.
He is a good man. He is qualified. But Asin is saying that Igoyota Amori is a man who makes people. He may not necessarily give you money. He recommends you for a position, and that position catapults you to the limelight. Because of this, I believe in the wisdom of Amori and not his age. I am giving him my support.
But don't you think, in all fairness, you should create a platform for these people to engage in perhaps a public debate and let the masses decide that for themselves rather than you just.
I clamor for that to be done across, both in the governorship, the senatorial, the houses of rep, the house of assembly, etc. But when you fix this, or when you try to achieve this, there are people who shy away from it. I am also aware that degrees, English, do not solve problems. We have seen it before. Those who are eloquent, public speakers, who have failed successfully.
Wow. That brings us to the end of this time out with Marcos Ikure. I believe you've enjoyed this moment with us. You know, kindly subscribe to the channel, LETV, and encourage your friends to do so. And don't stop sharing and following us. I remain your friend, Marcos Ikure. Bye for now till we see in our next broadcast.